Hey guys, this is Sicarius from Sicarius Gaming, and today I want to bring you an Assassination Rogue 9.2 PvP guide. I want to go over things such as the PvP gear, stats, talents, conduits, covenants, and legendaries that you'll be using as an Assassination Rogue. Our stats as an Assassination Rogue in PvP are haste, then versatility, then mastery, and then crit. Next, let's go over our gear and legendaries. First and foremost, you will want to try and get your 4-piece tier set as quickly as possible for the most damage output during your burst windows. 2-piece is very effective as Shiv causes enemies within 15 yards to take 40% increased damage from your poisons and bleeds for 9 seconds. Your 4-piece allows Vendetta to cause poisons and bleeds on your target to expire 100% faster. This is basically a mini exsanguinate, which is a talent on row 45 that we typically do not take. As for the rest of your gear, you'll want to focus on getting as much PvP gear as possible with haste and versatility on it. This will allow your gear to scale to a higher item level while in PvP combat or war mode. Luckily, the PvP vendor carries every piece offering haste versatility except for the gloves, which won't matter anyway since that slot will be filled with a tier piece. As for the tier pieces you're going to want, you will want to have your tier helm, shoulder, gloves, and legs. Once you unlock Unity at Revered Reputation with the Enlightened, you will craft your legendary piece on your chest. The reason for this is because the tier chest offers the worst stats out of all the other options, so you'll craft Unity with haste versatility missives. Your two best legendary pieces as an Assassination Rogue are Toxic Onslaught, which is your Covenant legendary, and Duskwalker's Patch. Duskwalker's Patch reduces the cooldown of Vendetta by 1 second for every 30 energy you spend. This paired with your 4-piece is insane because by the time you get your second Vendetta, and if your target has popped his trinket during your first go, he won't have it available for the second go, so you can get all of your dots up, mark for death into a kidney shot, smoke bomb, sepsis into a Vendetta, and unused trinket if you're using it for the extra damage, or resonator, and the target at that point should be dead. Now let's go over the talents that you'll be using. First off is Master Poisoner. This increases our damage done by our weapons by 30% and non-damage effects by 20%. This talent synergizes well with our Deadly Poison by increasing its damage by 30% and buffs the slow of crippling poison. Before Hemotoxin was introduced into our toolkit, we used Wound Poison as our main hand poison. And with this talent, it increased healing reduction of our wound by an additional 20%. But since we have Hemotoxin applying the 40% healing reduction for 9 seconds when used with Shiv, Deadly Poison has become the go-to main hand poison. Next, you'll want to take Subterfuge, almost always. This will allow us to get control over our targets in Arena and VGs or RBGs, and it's the quickest and easiest way to gain control over your targets. Next, we have Mark for Death. This will allow us to get on-demand kidney shots to go for our kill shots when we need it. Instant peels for our teammates, and it's also great for opening up against the target from stealth. For row 35, we will choose Elusiveness, always, period. It's the best talent in this row to choose as we get on-demand damage reduction of 30% for all non-AoE attacks for 6 seconds. This is also a great ability to use if you can telegraph when you're about to be stunned, so you can hit that to lower your damage taken by 30%. For row 40, we will choose Internal Bleeding. This will put a bleed dot on our target when we use Kidney Shot. Next, we will choose Alacrity. This gives us haste, which is one of our best stats as an Assassination Rogue. The more haste we have, the faster our energy regen is, which will allow us to do more damage in the long run. And the last row, we will choose Poison Bomb. The proc on it is RNG, but it can proc from both Envenom and Rupture, so this is a nice damage increase to both our sustained and burst damage. The only time we would possibly choose Hidden Blades would be during an RBG when we're spamming on flag to keep the enemy from trying to gain control over that flag. And you'll almost always never use Crimson Tempest. It's just too weak. As for our PvP talents, we will choose Smoke Bomb. This is the default choice that should always be taken. This is good to block incoming spells when we are trying to land a kill, and it can also be used defensively to try to get away from our target to regain stealth. Hemotoxin is next. You'll almost always choose this going against any comp with a healer for that extra healing reduction. Next we'll choose Dismantle. You'll pretty much take this whenever you go against any comp that has a melee that relies on its weapons to do damage. The only exception for this, I believe, are monks, since their damage isn't tied to the weapon damage, but rather physical spells such as punches and kicks, etc. And for the times that you'll swap out Dismantle will be for comps in Arena that you go up against that don't have a melee on the team, in which case you could swap Dismantle out for Maneuverability, which Sprint removes all root effects and suppresses all movement slowing effects for 4 seconds. So you'll basically always want to choose Smoke Bomb and Hemotoxin, so long as there is a healer on the enemy team that would take advantage of the healing reduction. As for our Covenant, right now the best Covenant for Assassination Rogue is going to be Night Fae. It offers the best damage with Sepsis and our 2 Legendaries with Toxic Onslaught. After the Sepsis buff expires, it allows us to use 1 stealth ability outside of stealth. Toxic Onslaught from our Covenant Legendary also grants us Adrenaline Rush for additional energy regen, as well as Shadow Blades for 10 seconds after Sepsis expires off our target. Night Fae also offers great mobility with a blink in the form of Soul Shape. So next we're going to take a look at Conduits. First and foremost, you want to get Septic Shock, which increases our damage over time by X%, depending on the item level that you choose, and it also gets reduced by 10% each time it deals damage. The next conduit is going to be Quick Decisions. Your Shadow Steps cooldown is reduced by 10%, and its maximum range is increased by 30%. Cloaked in Shadows. When entering stealth, it cloaks you in the shadows, absorbing X% of your maximum health and damage for 4 seconds. Lethal Poisons. It increases the instant damage of your lethal poisons by X%. Well-Placed Steel. Your Shiv increases your nature damage done against the target by an additional X%. And I like playing with Rush Setup because it decreases the energy cost for Kidney Shot, Cheap Shot, Sap, and Distract by X%. Again, all the X% mentioned are dependent on what item level conduit you have for, this particular setup. Alright, now for our opener. So say we're in a 2s match and we're going up against a healer DPS. So what you're going to want to do is when the gates open, you're going to want to try to quickly get a sap onto the healer and go for the DPS and open with a Mark for Death Kidney into a Garrote, Mutilate, Rupture, and then a Shiv, Sepsis Vendetta, Mutilate, End Venom, Mutilate, Mutilate, End Venom, and you keep repeating that process until Sepsis falls off. And then from that point you could ambush and then refresh your dots. And if the target doesn't have a trinket, chances are he's pretty much dead at this point. If you don't get the target in the opener, you can try and get a re-stealth and open back up on your kill target. Make sure you keep Rupture and Garrote on your target as close to 100% of the time as you possibly can to apply the most pressure at all times. You can also multi-dot your target with Rupture so you can gain additional energy regen over the course of the fight. I typically never open with Ambush or use it, since Mutilate has a chance to generate an additional combo point with Seal Fate, and it also has an additional 2 chances to proc your poisons. The only time I'll maybe use Ambush is coming out of Sepsis buff for the Stealth ability proc. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment and click on the bell notification to get notified when I put out more videos.